Welcome to the Pandemonium Witches podcast, where the ADHD has just a touch of autism, where the true crime is as scary as the hauntings and unsolved cases. But the hosts never stay on topic for long. I'm Kat.
I'm Rachel.
I'm Em.
And I'm Meg.
Keep your arms, legs, and other extremities in the vehicle at all times, and enjoy the show. I'm sorry. Who has this?
Walmart.
You've heard it here first, folks.
They have a 9-inch, 13-inch, and white, orange, and black.
Pumpkins! Pumpkins! They have pumpkins! 9-inch pumpkins!
Yes.
Because I didn't record the first part.
So that way, if you don't want to mess with the pumpkin guts and the pumpkin seeds,
Yep.
you can buy these polyurethane.
Polyurethane? Okay.
And you can carve them and, style them, or, just leave them as is, and not deal with the mess. Well, I mean, there's going to be a little bit of mess because if you're carving it, but you're not having to deal with, the icky feeling of the guts.
Ugh.
So if you have somebody who doesn't like certain textures, like slimy textures, this would be perfect.
Me. I used to have to wear the dish gloves that went all the way up to the elbow.
Yeah.
My ex worked on a horse ranch, and they had the gloves that would go all the way up to the elbow. I would get like 4 or 5 of them during October season, and he would just be like, "Here you go," and be like, "Oh, thanks."
Just keep them around for the rest of the year.
Oh man, I want to carve a pumpkin, but at the same time, I don't like the texture.
Right.
Hate the texture. He says we can decorate when he gets home.
Oh, yes.
I really want to do a spider web on the side of the house.
Mm-hmm.
And the lawn guy's coming today. I have no idea what time. But he's coming. Good morning. I will be on your property today. Okay, sounds great. Thumbs up. Because I am not cutting the lawn.
Oh, hell no.
There's too many.
Speaking of which, once my yard dries out, I will be needing to mow as well.
Well, because you just had that hurricane come through.
Well, it was nowhere near me.
Right. Which is good. We got more wind because we got we were on the west side, and so we got a lot more wind. Mm-hmm.
But also, we still got rain. We got a lot of rain.
Right.
And of course, my yard holds water like
nobody's
freaking wetland.
Business. Yeah.
And so it's going to take a little bit for it to dry out.
Just a smidgen,
Used to be it.
Now we talked about it last episode about murder. Do you have a murderous person you want to talk about today, or?
I still have another
Cryptid?
Cryptid.
Woo! Okay.
Give me 1 second.
Take your time. Also, I finally beat my high score on my Tetris.
Oh boy!
I was stuck at 48,000 for almost a year.
Oh jeez.
I was like, good God. It's one of the things I wanted to try and beat, and I did, and I was so happy.
Yes.
Now I have
Love that.
Now I have to beat 58,000.
Yeah, well.
It happens.
Okay, so was a requested topic from our friend Ott.
Hello,
Autumn! It is a Welsh cryptid.
Oh.
So I'm going to do my best on pronouncing some things.
We're going over the pond, huh?
Please don't hate me for mispronouncing this.
Look, we're sorry.
So hard.
Y'all can leave comments If we mispronounce something, you can put like the pronunciation in it, and I will definitely go back.
Please do, and because that way, if we can add it, to filings for later.
Yes.
If we come back to the topic.
Yes.
But also because that way we know how to correctly pronounce things, and because we appreciate that.
We do. Absolutely.
Okay, so this is Gwyllion. It is the plural noun for the singular gwyll, which means twilight or gloaming. And it is a Welsh word with a wide range of possible meanings, including ghosts, spirits, and night wanderers, human or supernatural, up to no good outlaws of the wild.
Thanks, I hate it. Good God, no. Why? How's it spelled? Hold on.
Gwyllion.
Gwyllion. I think the G might be silent. Hold on.
I have no clue. Welsh words, I'm horrible with Welsh. I'm very much not a Welsh speaker.
Aha! We have it! How to pronounce?
Gwyllion.
Gwyllion.
Gwyllion? Okay.
Gwyllion.
Gwyllion. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Wikipedia.
So, Gwyllion is only one of a number of words with these or similar meanings in Welsh. And it is comparatively recently coined a word inadvertently in the 17th century by the Welsh lexicographer Dr. John Davies of Mallard. Did you reach the end of your coffee?
Apparently.
You kept looking down like, why is there not more?
Because in my book it magically fills itself.
If only. Okay, so according to folklorist Wirt Sykes, the Gwyllion is female fairies of frightful aspect who haunt lonely roads in the Welsh mountains and lead travelers astray. They are gloomy spirits more akin to hags or witches, as distinct from the Welsh elves that are more benevolent.
Benevolent or malevolent?
Malevolent.
Okay.
B, not an M.
B, not an M. Got it.
And those who encounter them either by day or by night or a misty day would be sure to lose their way, even if they were perfectly familiar with the road.
Why? Oh,
because they can.
No, if you think about it, that sounds like the Watchers movie you talked about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So one in particular was known as the Old Woman of the Mountain, who haunted Lanhydel Mountain in Monmouthshire. And the popular tradition in that district was that she was the ghost of a woman who had been regarded in life as a witch. She is known to utter strange cries and shouts throughout her mountain in order to frighten wayfarers.
You know,
I'm
okay with that. I'm all right with being a witch on the edge of the forest that wants to scare away all travelers.
Right.
Honey, if my husband's listening to this, can we move to the edge of the forest? So I can be that old crone that yells at people coming nearby.
Get off my grass!
Get off my lawn!
So the old woman has also been encountered on Black Mountain in Breconshire. One man reported meeting her there and at the same time found that he had lost his way. Thinking she was human, he called out for her to stay, but receiving no answer, he thought she was deaf.
Oh!
He tried to overtake her, but she led him further astray, always out of reach, until he found himself in a marsh.
Like you do.
There, she uttered a cackling cackling laugh. He suspected she might be a Gwyll, and so he drew his knife, whereupon the old woman vanished. His suspicions were confirmed, for it was well known that the Welsh ghosts and fairies were afraid of knives and could be banished by them.
I too am afraid of knives.
Right.
Have you seen the tips of my fingers? One too many mandolins.
No, not so much knives for you as the mandolins. Knives you're fine with. It's the mandolins.
Right. Give me a good old knife any day.
Those blades.
Yeah.
This exorcism by knife, according to Sykes, is a particularly Welsh tradition.
Putting that for the title.
Exorcism by knife.
Exorcism by knife.
They often come into the houses of the people at the parish of Aberystwyth, especially in stormy weather.
Why?
Well, yeah, because they want out of the storm too.
No! Go away. Go find your own hidey hole somewhere else.
Right. She was always made welcome, not out of any sense of friendship, but out of fear of what she might do to them if she was offended.
No, bitch. Get the fuck out. Again, find your own fucking hidey hole.
She would be provided with clean water, and care was taken that no knife or any other cutting tool should be in the corner near the fire where the fairies like to sit.
You lied to me. You said this would be fun. This is not fun.
I never make such promises. What you mean?
This is true. Still, I hate it.
While it was desirable to exercise them when in open air, it was not prudent to display an inhospitable attitude towards any member of the fairy realm. Guys, there was a fucking Disney movie called Maleficent about this shit. Like, you don't... you invite the fairies to certain things.
Right.
And you're just not rude to them.
Just never rude. If you're... So, okay, let's pause. You brought it up. She's my bitch. I fucking love Maleficent. The only reason... She's the fairy queen, right? The only reason she was angry is she didn't get invited to the party.
I know.
If she was invited to the party, she would have politely declined. Said thank you, but no thank you.
Shit, she might have gone and had a great time for all we knew.
Right. But oh no. She had to offend. Had to be offended by the royalty.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Anyways, sorry. My bad.
Nope, it's fine. That's just fine.
Like, what are
another traveler encountered by them at night on Bedwellty Mountain. There were several such spirits dancing fantastically around him. He also heard the sounds of a bugle horn and what seemed like invisible hunters riding by. Although he was afraid, he drew his knife and the fairies vanished. Sykes speculates that if these ideas are traced back to their source, then they may have some connection with the sword Excalibur and the role it plays in the primeval world. The folklorists... I just blanked on this word. Give me a second.
Words are hard.
Catherine Briggs suggested that...
Wait, hold on. The name Catherine tripped... I am offended. I'm just gonna...
It's spelled different, okay?
Listen,
it's Katharine.
Okay, that would trip anybody up, to be fair.
So I'm like looking, I'm like, I know this word.
Because that's my name too.
Off, okay? I know, but it was spelled different, so it threw me off. Anyway, so the folklorist Catherine Briggs suggested that it may have to do with the traditional fairy vulnerability to cold iron.
Okay.
So basically, wait 1 second. So these fairies have the unnerving habit of sitting on either side of mountain trails and staring silently at passing travelers. So basically, these fairies have the unnerving habit of sitting on either side of mountain trails and staring silently at passing travelers. So basically, these fairies have the unnerving habit of sitting on either side of mountain trails and staring silently at passing travelers.
I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
No.
They are not possessed of an automatically disturbing presence, but their eerie stare is more than off-putting. Well, no shit. You're staring at me.
Right.
They tend to be the silent type, sitting in a corner watching your every move, um, but may or may not do anything about it.
No.
They will keep you right where they want you at arm's length, where you can be scrutinized, observed, and examined.
Bitch, I said no. Fuck. I'm just going to keep you at arm's length, but stay where I can see you.
Pretty much.
It's like putting a toddler on a leash and seeing what happens. Actually, it's kind of funny.
So many became despondent because of social rejection and turned to hermitage or worse. Some actually tried to make it in society and invariably become unseelie in nature.
Ew.
And of course, they know how unsettling their presence is and takes a perverse pleasure in terrorizing people.
I, too, take a perverse pleasure in terrorizing people.
So they are usually of average height and light build with angular features not distinctly removed from the city, but devoid of their cousin's delicate beauty. The hair is invariably long, worn loose, and generally unkept. So, like my Nora hairstyle.
Yes.
Humidity.
Yes.
They are ever watchful, wide-eyed, and staring, and in their fey seeming, they cannot close their eyes at all. That's terrifying.
Oh, no.
Because in their mortal seeming, they can keep their eyes either tightly shut or wide open. They do not even blink. In their fey seeming, they have dirty-looking green-gray skin, and their stare appears as a menacing glare, which is often softened slightly in the Seelie Kitham.
So I do have to say that looks like if you've seen True Blood, that's what the fairies look like in their quote-unquote true self. That is disgusting.
Uh-huh.
I hate it. Thanks.
Oh, shit. Scroll too fast.
You've gone too far.
They tend to be solitary, but not always out of choice. Many find it hard to come to terms with social rejection. Some fortunates may be picked out as valuable security guards or watchmen for constant watchfulness, if not keen eyesight. Over years of social difficulty, most build up resentment for people around them, but same. At which point they have defeated themselves by fulfilling everyone's suspicions. Hardening back to their fairy relations, feeling attached to the countryside, and their usual dwelling of choice is situated somewhere hilly or mountainous. Windy crags are a perfect spot for solitary reflection and, of course, commanding vigilance. So, in popular culture, they are featured as the main antagonist in the 2013 CGI animated film Barbie Mariposa and the Fairy Princess. She appears as a vengeful old woman with light gray hair who attacked the Crystal Fairies.
I love that movie.
In the Lord of the Rings online video game, the culture of Dunland, sparsely described by J.R.R. Tolkien's, which is heavily based in the Welsh mythology. They're also called the Old Women of the Mountain and appears in Dunland as a second antagonist who is in the alliance with Saruman the White.
Oh, okay. Sorin the White, right?
Saruman.
Saruman. Yeah,
Okay.
Saruman.
Like I said, words are hard.
It's fine. He made up his own
In
language.
the Good Kid song Witches, the Gwyllion are mentioned in the lyric. Now just take a look at this through Gwendolyn's eyes.
Oh.
In the Choose Your Own Adventure book, The Enchanted Kingdom, one storyline involves the protagonist traveling to a mountain range and defeating a group of ghouls by brandishing a knife with a plastic handle. The ghouls, enemies of the fairies, are portrayed similar to the Gwyllion and seem to be based on them.
Okay.
But that's all I have.
That's frightening, and I hate it.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
It
was very frightening researching it.
I mean, I too want to live on the edge of the forest and scream at children.
Right.
As one does.
But at what cost?
My life. Yes, I would be quite happy. Not screaming at my kids, though. No.
Oh, no.
No. I love my kids. I still find it funny that all of you are conspiring to get me pregnant.
There's 8 of us so far.
Yeah. It's pretty hilarious. I
love it.
I don't... Hold on. I don't know what it is with my chair, but it hates me.
It can't handle all that ass.
All that junk inside that trunk.
It's the only explanation.
So, I did a little bit of research on something that I kind of sort of celebrate. Which,
okay,
it's not Christmas in July; it's Christmas in October.
It's Christmas whenever your heart desires, just like Halloween.
We're not bringing, Mariah Carey into this because she hasn't defrosted yet. But
unless you count some stores who are already bringing out their Christmas decorations and playing Christmas music, I'm like, one holiday at a time, guys.
It's not until after Thanksgiving. I told Josh we can set up the tree after Thanksgiving, but not before.
Right, day after Thanksgiving, fine.
Totally fine.
Don't care.
Totally fine.
One holiday at a time, please, guys.
So today's topic only has 4 pages, which we'll discuss the second part of this topic in Christmas. But I'm gonna start it. I'm not even gonna tell our listeners what it is yet. I'm just gonna start.
I mean, that's the best way to do it.
Every year
we usually do it.
Trying to take over the world. So
buckle up, guys, and hydrate so you can hydrate.
Strap in, hydrate, and get ready to hydrate. Let's go. So every year in early December, children in Austria get ready for Saint Nick to visit them. If they've been good, he'll reward them with presents and treats. But if they've been bad, they'll get more than a lump of coal. They'll be greeted by Krampus.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
And not the Krampus from Book Talk, guys.
No. That is saucy. That is sizzling. We're not talking about him. This one looks like a Yeti matched with
top half Yeti.
Yes.
Bottom half goat legs.
Bottom half is a satyr.
Yeah.
So
goat legs, basically.
Yeah. European versions of Saint Nick have long had scary counterparts.
Of course, because you had the be good and you'll get this from this.
Right.
Or be bad and you get these horrible things from this person.
So, did you know that there are like dozens, but I only put a couple, which were the Eastern European ones?
Yeah.
So
that's where it originated.
Right, which was in Germany and Austria. So we have the Belschnickel and the Not Rabbit. If I said that wrong, I'm sorry. I do apologize. Who dole out punishment. Krampus is one such character who comes from folklore of Austria's Alpine region, where he's been frightening children and adults for hundreds of years. The origin is unclear. Some folklorists and anthropologists have postulated that it may have pre-Christian origins, which, guys, if you don't know, the Christians stole everything from everybody else.
Like they do.
Like the Crusades, smallpox, chlamydia. The origin of the figure, I already did that. In traditional parades, such events as Krampenschlaf, which is known as Krampus Run, young men dress as Krampus to attempt to scare the audience with their antics. There is one such Krampus Run that I have been to, Krampus, in LA. They've been doing it for eons. It's fun.
Interesting.
That's when I used to get hammered every other weekend. So, I mean, might as well. So, Krampus is featured on holiday greeting cards called Krampuskarten, which is known as Krampus cards. Krampus is a horned anthropomorphic figure who in Central and Eastern Alpine folkloric tradition is said to accompany Saint Nick on visits to children during the night of December 5th, also known as Krampusnacht or Krampus Night. Immediately before the feast of St. Nicholas on December 6th, in this tradition, St. Nick rewards well-behaved children with small gifts and knickknacks, while Krampus punishes bad behavior ones with birch rods, also known for our southern folk, switches.
Interesting.
It sounds like a good Tuesday night to me. Krampus is...
Sounds like a fun weekend. What you mean?
Krampus is thought to come from either Bavarian folklore, Krampen meaning dead, rotten, or from the German Kramp or Krampen meaning claw. The Krampus is considered to be half goat and half demon monster in some legends.
I mean, it makes sense.
Right.
It's this terrifying being. So.
It's super terrifying, but I mean, I just want to cuddle it, except for when it opens its mouth, it's got like razor sharp teeth.
Well, yeah. I mean, you gotta crunch up the bones, slice through all the meat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, giving like the wicked grins, gotta strike terror in people.
For those of
makes sense.
Right. For those of you listening who don't know, Krampus takes children, sticks them in a bag, hikes them up a tree,
pulls them off, and then eats them.
So they actually covered. We'll discuss it later. I'll go into that. Pause. Okay. Sorry about that. I had a phone call.
It happens.
So, we talked about the Bavarian meaning, but it's the Krampus is thought to be inspired by other mythical creatures, which we talked about. Like the faun from Pan's Labyrinth with the backwards knees. Also the Yeti.
So freaky.
So freaky. So creepy.
It's the backward knees part that always gets me. I
can't watch the... Yeah.
Nope. Mm-mm.
So
freaks me out.
The Perchten, or the Stragel, though there are no written sources before the end of the 16th century, the Perchen figures persisted but are unrelated to the Krampus. The Krampus is a Perchen and Stragel inspired figure, but also has distinct physical traits that make Krampus unique to its cousins, which are the Perchen and the Stragel. So Stragel's kind of like a Yeti.
Yeah.
Type thing. So Krampus is usually featured as a man with horns, with one grotesque human foot and 1 foot of goat, typically covered in black hair, and unique to Krampus, who also has a very long snake or dragon-like tongue. Hence, Krampus on Book Talk.
Okay, but like 1 human foot and 1 hooven foot, like that just makes me think of somebody walking with like only 1 heel on, the little uneven gait. And I'm like, that would be so annoying. No wonder he's so pissed all the time.
Wait for me, guys. I have little legs. That's me. That's totally me.
It's true.
So in the 17th century, Krampus had been paired with Saint Nick as a helper because
Mm-hmm.
Saint Nick is a saint.
Yeah.
It wasn't logical or deemed saintly behavior for Nicholas to deliver punishments. Therefore, a helper was designated to Saint Nick, such as Farmhand Rupert or Schmutzli or Pierre Foutard, who would go down the chimney and punish the naughty children. Krampus served Saint Nick in the same role. So, of course, there was an introduction to mass media, which came out with the Krampus cards. And the postcard industry experienced a boom in Germany and Austria in the 1890s, where it opened the way for Krampuskarten. These holiday cards weren't mean. They were horrible. They weren't meant to be warm and fuzzy.
Of course not.
So there were ones marked with Gross von Krampus, greetings from Krampus, showing Krampus stuffing a distressed child into his satchel.
Well, I mean, of course the child's distressed.
They're getting dragged by the foot. Or preparing...
And then usually lowered headfirst into the bag.
Right. Or preparing to hit one with his bundle of birch sticks. Again, like I said, great Tuesday night. Many of these postcards depicted Krampus going after children with his sticks, leading them away in chains, or carrying them off in his bag. A lot of the old-timey postcards were seen with him with a large bag with a foot sticking out of it.
Yeah.
The aftermath of the 1932 election in Austria, the Krampus tradition was prohibited by the Dollfuss regime, which was right before World War I. Under the fascist Fatherland Front, and the Christian Socialist Party. I did not know that was a thing. The more you know.
Yeah.
In the 1950s, the government distributed pamphlets titled Krampus is an Evil Man, for fear that encounters with Krampus might damage children's mental health. No shit. Some nasty hairy man is going to take you away in a bag.
Right.
That sounds like the story from Shel Silverstein. You know, they're coming to take me away. Haha. No, that's the Funny Farm. But anyways, there's still there's still a story from Shel Silverstein that kind of talks about it.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it, but I don't remember like particulars.
They stuffed them in a sack. Hold on. Oh man, I don't even remember where it is. But it was in the book Where the Sidewalk Ends. So if any of our listeners wants to credit that one, I don't know where it is. So towards the end of the century, the popular resurgence of Krampus celebrations occurred and continues today. Like I talked about the LA Krampus run.
Yeah.
Although Krampus appears in many variations, most share common physical characteristics. He's hairy, usually black or brown hair, has one foot and the other is cloven, and horns of a goat. Long pointed.
Still sounds
so weird.
Horrible.
Long pointed tongue, has fangs, carries chains, and the chains are thought to symbolize the binding of the devil by the Christian church, which is, the chains were added later, so I can understand that. Krampus typically thrashes the chains for dramatic effect, and the chains are sometimes accompanied by bells of various sizes. Krampus will carry a bundle of birch branches, which he uses to swat children, and in a lot of other cultures, they're replaced with whips.
Okay.
So, typical Tuesday. On Christmas Eve, Krampus travels with a sack or a basket strapped to his back. This is to cart off the evil children. In follows: drowning, eating, and transporting to hell. Some of the older versions make mention of the naughty children being put in the bag and taken away. This quality can be found in other companions of Saint Nick, such as S1.E46, which we already talked about, the French guy.
Yes.
So the Feast of Saint Nick is celebrated in most parts of Europe on December the 6th. But the day before, on December 5th, is Krampus night, which we talked about earlier. Normally, St. Nicholas appears in the Eastern Rite vestments of a bishop and usually carries a golden ceremonial staff. Unlike North American and most English versions of Santa Claus, these celebrations of St. Nicholas concern themselves only with good children, while Krampus is responsible for the bad.
I mean, it makes sense.
So there were already established pagan religions, which you and I both mostly know, that became intertwined with Catholicism. People would masquerade as a devilish figure known as Perched, a two-legged humanoid goat with a giraffe-like neck wearing animal furs.
Interesting.
So people wore costumes and marched in processions known as, I'm really sorry for my German friends, Perchtenalfen? Sure. They were looked at.
Sounds good.
They were looked at with suspicion by the Catholic Church and banned by civil authorities. Due to the sparse population and rugged environments within the Alpine region, the ban was not effective or easily enforced. Good for you. Good for you.
Yes.
This rendered the ban useless. Eventually, the Perchenlauf, inspired by the Nicholas plays, introduced Saint Nicholas and his set of good morals. The Perched transformed into what is now known as Krampus and is made to be subjected to Krampus's Saint Nicholas's will. It is customary to offer the Krampus schnapps. These runs,
Because everybody wants a little alcohol.
I mean, I would love alcohol, but me and alcohol aren't great friends.
Well, I mean, for him going around collecting the naughty children. Like,
Oh yeah. Side topic, whenever we had Christmas carolers back in California, they would go door to door. And when they would come to the door, I would have a cauldron full of shots. And they would all be like Bailey's cream or schnapps, and I would have hot cocoa where you could,
for those that didn't want alcohol.
Right. And so if you wanted to mix it in, you could, or if you didn't have to, but I would make homemade cocoa. Let me tell you, I was the most hoppin' house during carol season.
Oh, yeah, because they didn't feel the cold anymore because they were too drunk.
Yup. So these runs may include Perchen, similarly wild pagan spirits of Germanic folklore, and sometimes female in representation.
Interesting.
Although they're properly associated with the period between winter solstice and January 6th, which the solstice is around the beginning of December. Beginning in the late 20th century, amid efforts to preserve cultural heritage, Krampus runs became increasingly popular in Austria and Germany. During this time, Krampus began to be celebrated internationally, and the monster's growing appeal was seen in numerous horror films. You ready for me to go into that?
Yes, please.
All right. So it appears in several pieces of folklore: Austria, Bavaria, Bosnia. That was my ankle.
Ow.
Herzegovina, Croatia, Czech Republic, Hungary, Romania, Northern Italy, Slovakia, and Slovenia. In Styria.
All of you Eastern
European people. In Styria, the root is presented by Krampus to families. Twigs are painted gold and displayed year-round in the house, reminder to any child that is temporarily forgotten Krampus exists. In smaller, most isolated villages, the figure has other beastly companions, such as an antlered wild man. But for these families,
again, book talk, this is not the right thing.
No. He would take you and be ravishing you.
And not in the best of ways.
Yeah. But in these towns, St. Nicholas is nowhere to be found.
Of course not. Because most of the time, like, you would get a piece of fruit.
Right.
Clothes, a pair of shoes, And that was about it.
Yeah. And stockings were socks. They weren't like...
They were literally these stockings that they wore day to day, and they just attached to the end of their beds.
So, a toned-down version of Krampus is part of the popular Christmas markets in Austrian urban centers like Salzburg. In these tourist-friendly areas, Krampus is more humorous than fearsome.
Well, of course, because they don't want to scare off the tourists.
So I went into like a background of Yule and delved into that. I feel like we can cover Yule on a different episode, like a December episode.
Okay.
By the way, guys, we take after the first week of December, we take the whole month off. Like
and into January.
And into January, because I work on this podcast all the time.
That way we can have a break and also brainstorm for future episodes. But also we can travel and see family.
Yes. So if you guys have special things that you want to do for next year, as always, let us know. But we are going to be discussing...
Please let us know.
...different holidays of Yule for Christmas. So we're going to...
I can't wait.
I'm going to highlight that and move that to a later. Let me just highlight it. Yellow. So in media, as you requested, the character of Krampus has been imported and modified for various North American media use, including print, Krampus, the Devil of Christmas, a collection of vintage postcards by Mont Beauchamp in 2004, Krampus the Yule Lord, a 2012 novel by Gerald Broom, Krampus, a comic series from Image Comics in 2013, created by Dean Koontz and Brian Joines. That is a fantastic series.
I'll have to look into it.
It is so good. I love Dean Koontz. It really does go into like the graphic nature of Krampus. Television, both live action, A Krampus Carol in 2012, episode of The League, and animation, A Very Venture Christmas, a 2004 episode of The Venture Brothers, Minstrel Krampus, a 2000 episode of American Dad, video games, Carnival, which is from 1998 arcade game, and The Binding of Isaac, Rebirth, a 2014 video game. Now, there's also a movie called Krampus that came out in 2015, which is a comedy horror movie from Universal.
Yes.
So good.
Oh, yes.
So good. But
it had little jump moments, but otherwise it was decent.
Right. It definitely did have some good jump scares, not ones that you would be like knowing.
Yeah.
It would be right around the corner. There's also another one for Saint Nick called Violent Night.
Yes.
So good. But did you know it was also on Grimm and in Supernatural?
I knew about Supernatural. The Supernatural episode.
So good. So
yes.
It doesn't say the episode, but A Very Supernatural Christmas, Sam and Dean investigate a series of murders where the victims were pulled up a chimney. It was a season 3 mid-season finale, which came out December 13th, 2007. It was the episode 8 of season 3, but on season 3 of Grimm, which was roughly around the same time, their episode was also episode 8. It was called The 12 Days of Krampus.
Oh.
This is the one that is most like the story I was told.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a synopsis. A string of delinquent teens go missing, and an old tale of an evil Santa brings more than just a lump of coal, who's the prime subject. On the stroke of midnight, Krampus returned to human form, revealing to have no memory of anything, and being unaware that he was even such folklore. It turned out that Krampus is a good person who has changed for 3 weeks every year. It's a different person every year. in relation to the season. In this state, they become a monster, but the rest of the year, they are very good people.
Interesting.
So the story I was told is that these people are like Samaritans in society, and they are like,
except for those 3 weeks during the year,
they're the best people
because they try to atone for it for the rest of the year.
Well, no, they don't even know that so they don't even know that
they just kind of black out and don't even know. Wow.
So these are like pretty much Mother Teresa like people. They donate their time, they donate money, they donate resources, and this was something that...
So they're Dolly Parton, but except for those 3 weeks during the year.
Where they become Marilyn Manson, yes.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Complete opposites.
Complete opposites. But yeah, that is the story of another cryptid known as Krampus. I do have to say Krampus night was like my favorite time to go out. Mainly for the booze.
Interesting.
And lots of very, very strong men dressed up like Krampus. I do have to say, one of my favorite times, one of them did pick me up and throw me over his shoulder. And it was one of those, moments, you know?
Do it again!
Right. No, I was pissed. I have a thing about heights.
I know, but it, like, after like the height thing, it was like, oh, pick me up again, please.
Right.
Just not quite so high.
Right. No, I was definitely happy about it, but it was one of those things where I know I will probably never experience it again. I know my husband can't lift me like that, and that's okay. I am a hefty bitch, but
he still picks you up when he needs to.
He does, and it scares the ever-living crap out of me.
He toss you like a sack of flowers when he wants to.
He does. But let me tell you guys, if you decide you want to give your kids the story of Krampus, hold on.
It will give your children nightmares and anxiety, but also it will give them reasons to seek out therapy later.
Right. So the book that I got when I was, I think, maybe 16, my mom let me get it from the book fair because they thought it was a children's book. It was not. It's called Santa's Twin. I don't even remember when it's 2004. So yeah, I just turned 20, but it was at the book fair at school. And says Charlotte and Emily are determined to save Santa from his mischievous twin, Bob Claus, who has not only stolen Santa's sleigh, but stuffed his toy bag full of mud pies, cat poop, and broccoli. It's a horrible book, but it's so good. And then there's Robot Santa, which was also another good one. And then there's quite a few. I think this is it. Yeah, Krampus, a Yuletide adventure, which apparently is being sold on eBay.
Interesting.
And there you have it. There you have it.
A little Christmas bouquet in October.
Yes. That's a terrible name, but we're going to go with it anyways. That's fine. What'd
you put?
Exorcism by Knife by Hoofed Yetis and Bundles of Sticks.
I love it.
Oh, man. So I saved that as the episode titles. But so this one's coming out on October 16th. We have another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes left. And the last episode is going to be my favorite episode, which is we are discussing the folklore of Halloween.
Yes, I can't wait.
We're also going to talk about ofrendas and how each of us practice Halloween, which I'm the weirdest, but that's fine.
I mean, we already knew that anyways, so...
Yeah, that's okay. But, stay feral, bite the hand that feeds you, and we'll see you guys next time.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye! Next time on the Pandemonium Witches. Did you know that Davy Crockett was a politician?
Yes.
He moved to town in 1835 and died while fighting at the Alamo. But this hotel has become renowned as being really fucking haunted. It's full of ghosts, and it even has a Spotify playlist to the subject.
It happens.
Right, but good old George was apparently a nutter and decided to lock his wife in the attic. So many guests have reported the following: being tapped, pinched, or being watched by something unseen. But the story of the accident in the basement has left a man dead for the test of time.
Why is it a basement?
And why is it always men?